What's going on, people? It's Hypnofist here. Just checking in with you. Hope you're all well. This is a prediction video for the upcoming fight between Daniel Dubois and Joyce. So this is a an all British clash. Heavyweight division. I mean, in terms of stature in the division, Dubois. He's being touted as the second coming of the new dawn of heavyweights. His wins 14, KO 13, 93% KO ratio. His opponent Joyce, he is 10 wins with 9 KO, so 90%. So they're not too far off in terms of KO percentages. Joyce has been more active. He's had more fights, so he has a slightly higher percentage, but they're pretty much similar. Now Dubois, I mean, as of right now, I would say Dubois is a contender in the division. I wouldn't say he's 100% going to be a world champion. I mean, there is things that need to be addressed in his abilities, but as of right now, I'd say he's a contender. He is a slugger slash puncher in terms of his boxing style. Joyce, I'd actually rate him higher level than Daniel Dubois right now. Reason being, he has slightly better resume. He has slightly better wins, I feel, than Daniel Dubois. So I'd actually give the edge to Joyce and say that he's a contender, elite level contender. In terms of style, he is a pressure fighter. He's also a swarmer, and he's also a boxer and a puncher as well. So he's quite in terms of his style. He's got quite a few dimensions to his game, but in terms of the actual abilities, I'll break them down. I mean, look, you've got Daniel Dubois, right? Dubois is a contender. I would say he's a contender. Like I said, he's a slugger and puncher. He fights at long range mostly. He works his way into the mid. He can fight on the inside, however, he's not really effective when he's close, like when he's close range inside trading. I mean, he's more effective at the mid range. That's his sort of prime, so his optimal range when he wants to sort of trade and engage in a shootout, which he likes to do. He's got a very good jab, very stiff, very solid, very authoritative as well. And he has a very good 1-2. And as I said before, he's very comfortable trading on the inside. The only thing is, I mean, there's quite a few flaws that I think I've noticed with Daniel Dubois. He boxes very square onto his opponents, so he's a very big target to hit. He doesn't really box side on; he sort of boxes right square on, and he's easy to counter, and he's very rhythmic as well in his approach to working inside in the ring. He has this habit that he does where he sort of bounces on his feet 2 times, then he throws a jab, then he throws like a 1-2 or something. But every time he throws a punch, before he throws the punches, he likes to shoot the 1-2. Like, he likes to bounce on his feet. So a good opponent, someone with half a brain on him, will be able to spot that. And he does have these little habits that he likes to use. I don't think he uses it intentionally, but these are little habits that he needs to sort of, work on a bit, I think. Another thing is he doesn't really move his head at all. He doesn't really have any head movement. I mean, he hasn't really had the kind of opponents that have tested him and made him raise his game, really, if I'm being honest. But I'll speak more on that in a second. I mean, he doesn't really move his head off the line. And another problem is his head tracks his front foot. So wherever he's moving, he doesn't change the range. So for example, if he's walking down an opponent, his head doesn't come off the line, so he doesn't slip or dip his head as he's moving in. It's always, he's always standing upright, and it makes him an easier counter. It makes it easier to counter on him, I feel, and land clean shots on him. So yeah, I mean, he doesn't. That is something he's going to need to address at some point. I mean, he can get away with it, with the kind of guys he's been facing, but as he starts leveling up and moving into sort of European and the world rankings, those things will start to get exposed, I feel. Um, and another thing is, he is someone who doesn't really adapt. Like if you look at the Kevin Johnson fight, for example, Dubois tried to press Kevin Johnson to get him out of there quickly, but once Kevin Johnson started turning and slipping and using the Philly shell to roll the shots, Dubois didn't really adapt. He just kept coming at him with the same jab, 1-2 pressing in, and he's sort of doing the same thing over and over for the whole fight. He didn't adapt. He didn't start using feints. He didn't, use uppercuts on the inside. He didn't try and, punch his way through the guard like effectively. He wasn't, trying to throw more accurate shots. He's trying to, find, holes in Kevin Johnson's defense. And Kevin was able to survive 12 rounds with, with the big puncher that, that he's touted to be, So, yeah, I mean, he hasn't demonstrated that he has the ability to adapt in the ring. I mean, he fights the way he fights, and, that's that. Maybe that's issues to do with the corner. Maybe they're not instructing him correctly, and picking up on his opponent's flaws mid-fight. But, yeah, I mean, his inability to adapt is, is something that needs to, Daniel does need to be able to adapt to. I mean, at the world level, at the world class level, you do need to be able to adapt in the ring. You're not going to be able to steamroll everyone. So, that should have Daniel should have started adapting and changing his tactics mid fight. But for he didn't seem to. Now whether he can't or whether he just tried to do the same thing over. I mean, it's these things need to be addressed, especially in the earlier stages of his career, because I mean, if he can't adapt and he keeps fighting the kind of fighters that Frank Warren is gonna keep giving him, it's gonna come back and bite. It's gonna come back and haunt him in the long run. So yeah, I mean, with his resume as well, he hasn't really been tested yet, so there hasn't been any need to improve. I mean, so yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky one, really. I mean, Dubois, he's being billed, like he's being pushed at the forefront of Frank Warren's stable as the future of the heavyweight division and all that kind of stuff. But there are things that he needs to improve on if he really wants to take it all the way. He also pushes his punches as well a little bit. He's not very. He's got power and he's got okay speed, but his punches aren't really snappy. They sort of push out and they're very heavy shots. So yeah, I mean, he'd need to work on his explosiveness a little bit as well. I think he's a good prospect. Don't get me wrong. If it sounds like I'm sort of getting onto Dan, but he's a good prospect. I mean, there's lots of room for improvement, I feel. But he's young. He's 21, 22. So he's got plenty of time. As long as he gets the right training, right, his coaches are pushing him the right way. He gets the right opponents. He gets the quality level of sparring in camp, and his mindset is to improve. Then Daniel can go a long way in the sport. He's still 6-7 years away from his physical prime, which is Daniel's a big guy as well. So 6'5", he's solid. He built like a unit. So that is a bit frightening to think he's 6 years away from his physical prime. So I mean, Daniel's he's going the right way. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Frank Warren's, talking. It's not if, it's when, is what he was saying about Daniel's going to be a heavyweight champion. But as Deontay Wilder demonstrated, I mean, if you don't care to develop correctly, you're going to be exposed at the top level. So they do need to keep it in mind that he has to be developed correctly. And then you've got Joyce, opposite in the other corner. Now Joyce does have an excellent amateur pedigree. I know he's an Olympian. I can't remember whether he won an Olympic gold medal or not, or if he won any medals. But he's because of his amateur pedigree, he's more well rounded than Dubois in terms of skills and IQ. He's a pressure fighter. He's got a very good work rate. He's got an exceptional work rate for a heavyweight. He has a very good jab. He does throw it quite educated as well. He likes to throw it up. He can throw it down to the body. He can throw it long range. He measures space quite well and distance. He does slightly slow down towards the end of a 12-round fight. But look, if you're fighting at a high work rate and you're carrying the kind of size he's carrying, it's pretty much inevitable. And he's got good movement. He can walk opponents down and he can pressure them well. He can use his physical size well. He can use his physical size to manhandle and bully opponents as well. He does that quite well. He's quite heavy-handed, but the main problem with Joyce is his speed. He is absolutely slow, man. It's like watching a snail fight, man. Even like yesterday when I was doing some film study, on YouTube, I sped the fight up. I changed the video speed, and even at 1.25 speed, so 25% faster playing the video, he still looks slow as hell as well. Like his opponents. Joyce is tremendously slow, man. It's like watching, Yeah, I mean, he's just so slow. So, with that, he's slow to, get his punches off. He's slow to defend a little bit as well. I mean, his defense is very poor as well. I mean, he's very easy to catch. And his chin hasn't been, tested yet. I don't think I've seen him rocked in a fight at all, to be honest. I mean, he did have that little scare with Brian Jennings to the body, but Joyce adapted quickly. He started covering up his body. He started moving around the ring. I mean, again, like, he does have an extensive amateur background, so I mean, I'm sure he knows what to do. In terms of being able to adapt in the ring, and he's sparred with Anthony Joshua quite a lot as well up in Sheffield. So he's been around elite level guys in training camps and stuff, and Tyson Fury as well, I believe. So he does know the elite guys in the division quite well. I know Dubois sparred AJ, and there's that story about Dubois chinning Anthony and knocking him down in sparring. But I mean, Joyce does have an excellent sort of pedigree for a heavyweight. He can be beaten to the punch with quick counters, and because of his leaky defense, he can be caught with pot shots as well. Against Jennings was catching him with quick 1-2s. Quick, like a hook on the right hand, an uppercut right hand. He was catching him clean with shots. When he was pot shotting slightly. So he is easy to catch. And he usually doesn't move his head. He has started to move his head a little bit more in his last couple of fights, but it's not something that comes natural to Joyce. I mean, Joyce just goes in there and he walks you down and he starts throwing his punches, and eventually you're just gonna either stop throwing punches and cover up to defend against getting hit by such a big man, or you're gonna succumb to the power and get knocked out. It's either or with Joyce. I mean, his size is a big advantage for him, and he knows how to use it correctly. So yeah, I mean, he uses his physical advantages very well, and his lack of speed he makes up for with his physical size and his boxing IQ. He does have a bit of boxing IQ. he does adapt quite well in the ring, I feel. So yeah, I mean, in terms of prediction, now, if I'm being totally honest with you guys, I think Dubois has all the external advantages. It's a Frank Warren card. Dubois is the headliner alongside Joyce, don't get me wrong, but this is a Frank Warren show. So he has all the advantages outside. I mean, it's on BT Sport. BT, they've got their deal with Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions. So Dubois does have all the advantages outside of what goes on in the ring. But we're talking about inside the ring. I think, Dubois, he can't match Joyce for work rate. He's not going to be able to physically impose himself on, a 6'7" guy like Joyce. And he's not going to be able to manhandle Joyce. Joyce has him beat in that department. So it comes down to whether Joyce's chin can hold up to Dubois. I think it can personally. And I think that Daniel Dubois is going to struggle with Joyce's work rate. Dubois himself isn't really a high work rate fighter, and he's very rhythmic. So, if he's boxing on the outside and Joyce can control him on the outside, and when they go chest to chest, I mean, Joyce has the advantage in work rate. Daniel Dubois does fight in spurts. He's not someone who throws outright, He doesn't throw outright combinations and constantly working on the inside. So I think in terms of prediction, you guys might think this one's a bit crazy, but I think this one's gonna go a draw. I think Joyce is gonna out hustle Daniel Dubois, but being that Dubois is the star of Queensberry Promotions, I don't think Frank Warren's gonna let him lose on the cards. I just don't see it. I think Frank Warren will safeguard Dubois. He's his sort of golden ticket now, isn't he? I mean, he's lost Warrington. I don't think he has that many other. I don't think he has hardly any world champions now. Eddie Hearn sort of. Everyone's jumping onto Hearn. So I think that it's gonna go a draw. I think that Daniel Dubois won't match work rate. He can't match work rate. He can't match Joyce's IQ. All he has is power, but Joyce has an excellent chin. He's got an excellent ability to control range. I think Daniel Dubois is going to struggle to impose himself on the bigger man as well. So I think that it's going to end up going to points, but I think it will be a draw. I don't think Daniel Dubois is going to lose on the cards. So I think it's going to go to a draw. I think it'll be a draw, which is a bit crazy, but hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It should be a good fight, and I look forward to watching it. I'm actually looking forward to. I'm actually contemplating I'm gonna go to see it live. I might buy tickets, and actually go and watch it because, I think it'd be an excellent fight. You'll get your money's worth. So I'm thinking about going to attend the fight as well. So. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm absolutely crazy trying to predict this one as a draw? It's I have my opinions on things, but I think it's gonna go a draw. If you think otherwise, let me know in the comments. If you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications, keep up to date with the predictions. I'm gonna start pumping out a few more. I've got, I think maybe White versus Povetkin probably the next one that I'll do, and then I want to sort of touch on a few subjects in terms of boxing, not predictions wise, and just general topics. I'm working on a few things at the moment. So just stay tuned. There's a few interesting videos that I'm going to be coming out with soon. All right, peace.